Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Julie Gilbert, and I'm with Rachel Matthews. Hi, Rachel.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah, so we are coming at you from Oregon Weight and Wellness. And Rachel, have you been getting outside every day?
Yes.
Good. Tell us.
Because in our Thrive Challenge, one of the challenges, the end of the year challenge that we're running with a large group of your patients and some of my private clients is get outside for 23 minutes for every day for the rest of 2023. So, and the goal is just to get outside. You don't have to move, but what ends up happening is people usually tend to move around more if they go outside.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So I'm doing pretty well with my challenge now. I mentioned to you, I rolled my ankle yesterday. Oh, I hate that. I have
It
these
just
weak
takes you back.
ankles. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's back from my childhood playing softball, sliding into second base and twisting the ankle. Right. So, but anyway, I still got out and I took my dogs for a walk. So I was out there. So
Good.
yeah, good. It's so important to be outside. I love that
It's
that's
so
part of your
important.
challenge. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah, it's fun, and people are enjoying it. They're getting creative with ways. What I also think was interesting is today I talked with someone who, the 23 minutes for her, she walks regularly, and she's always felt like it had to be 30 or 45. And she likes to longer, but when she realized she could make it 23 minutes, it was that tiny habit. It made it more doable and less of a pressure. And like I can set my timer for 12 minutes. I walk for 12 minutes and I turn around and I walk back. And that to break it down in that kind of a way felt a lot more doable than I have to go outside and walk for 45 minutes, however long. So I like that it gave her some freedom and she's walking more frequently because it's a little bit more doable.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good one.
All right. That's great. Getting outside is so important because of what it does. Just getting that UV light and what it does for our melatonin, which is one of the greatest antioxidants that we have. And speaking of antioxidants,
yes,
the chapter in our book, Eat, Move, Sleep,
Mhm.
we're on chapter 28. He talks about broccoli being the new black. You know how they say brown's the new black or whatever.
Yeah.
Broccoli's the new black. And so people are catching on. He said, Rachel, and tell me if you think this is true. He said that broccoli sales have gone up. I want to know. So he says tripled over the last 3 decades.
Wow.
Broccoli consumption has tripled over the last 3 decades.
Well, that's good to hear. I haven't heard that before.
Right. And that's good to hear. I don't know if that's translated, unfortunately, into improved health outcomes. But it has the power to. It has the power to, and that's what he's talking about. So, Rachel, tell us about cruciferous vegetables.
It's true. Yeah, he says never go a day without eating something green. So first he just starts off with green. And man, if you can just start there, eat something green every day, one serving. But then he brings it further and he says, but if you can make it 1 cup of broccoli or other, he says green vegetable, but I'm going to lean on what you're saying and call it cruciferous because the leafy greens are different than the cruciferous. And I think that they are both strong contenders with one another. All the research I do and the books I read and all the doctors, some of them lean a little bit more toward the greens and some of them say, no, it's the cruciferous, but I'm going to call it, they're even. The value and benefit of both and raw or cooked.
Right.
Okay. So we get really high value from them cooked and high value from them raw. So
it's so true. Yeah, it's so true. And it really helps undo the damage that our bodies just have on a day-to-day basis, just for running the show here. I have metabolic byproducts, some waste products that I have, and a little fire going on inside of me that I got to tamp down and put out or take out. I got to take out that garbage. And things like broccoli and kale and the cauliflower, those cruciferous and the leafy greens, to your point, the green, they're doing that job for me.
You're doing the job. I love that you brought that up. That's such a it's such a beautiful system. We have a system that works well if we understand it, and it doesn't take much to understand. Like just that right there, I hope feels empowering that all day long I've got systems in my body that are breaking down and causing oxidation and stress and inflammation and byproduct garbage. But then if I'm eating well and exercising, my body and sleeping well and all the things we talk about, these are built-in mechanisms to do like the garbage disposal, to clean up, to tamp down the fire, to decrease the inflammation. And man, I was doing some research this week on autoimmune, and they're really the category of what's considered an autoimmune disorder or disease seems to be growing. They're taking more and more diseases and saying, you know what, this belongs in autoimmune, and oh, by the way, that's autoimmune too, right? And like it's like all of the chronic diseases you can think about, but even some that you may not have normally put in that category, it's autoimmune,
right?
Yeah.
And so auto meaning our bodies are doing something that we don't want them to do. But the beautiful thing is that if we have the right inputs or change the inputs, the high quality, nutrient dense fruits and vegetables, heavy on the vegetables. We're going to help change that.
Exactly. And it's a beautiful symbiosis. So I think it's and like you said, cruciferous, if for those of you who don't really know, it's kind of it's a lot of the vegetables that tend to have swirly patterns. So think of cabbage, think of I think bok choy is considered cruciferous. Certainly broccoli, certainly cauliflower, all the different cabbages. What else? I don't know if kale's technically in the cruciferous or not. It might be.
Yeah, that's above my pay grade there. And to his point, eat the flowerets, but if you don't like the flowerets, go for the stem. And the stem can be julienned and used in a lot of different ways. So
the other day I used bok choy, and I took the stems and chopped them up kind of like I would like a celery, and sauteed them in with the onions and kind of put them in that category. And then I chopped up all the leaf part, and I quick blanched them at the very end of what I was making. And so, all of it is usable, and all of it has great benefit. So
That's very good. All right. And then his next point is stick with coffee, tea, and water. And I think what he's saying there, what was his end point at the end of the chapter, Rachel?
His challenge is replace all juice, soda, and sugary beverages with water, tea, coffee, or other unsweetened drinks. And I think you and I would agree that we're going to also put that into artificially sweetened. Also,
exactly.
Not artificially sweetened.
Right. That's exactly right. Because our bodies need water. They run on water. We're over 50% of our body weight is water, and water does so much for us. It provides cushion in our brain, in our spinal column. It provides moisture for our mucous membranes. It helps flush out toxins from our body. I mean, it's doing so many important things. And if we wait till we're thirsty to drink water, that's we've kind of gone too far. So drinking water, a lot of people tell me, I just don't like the taste of water. Well, and it's probably because our brain has been hijacked by the sugary taste from soda, juice, coffee drinks, Red Bull, got carried away. And I can't remember if he points this out, Rachel, but when we drink calories, sugar specifically, it does nothing to change our hunger level. It does nothing. So we're bringing in calories without feeling fullness and decreasing hunger, which is a recipe for weight gain.
Yes, because our body is still releasing insulin because there's all this sugar, right? And we're still hungry because it hasn't satisfied anything. And so we're going to continue to eat or find more things to eat, looking for satisfaction.
Yeah.
Mm.
And so a lot of times we call these empty calories, but they're beyond empty calories. They're actually dangerous calories.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's not a neutral. It's not a net zero. Yeah,
no,
because an empty calorie is like, well, I just won't be nourishing myself. Ooh, but it actually is a harmful calorie.
it is. And unfortunately, Rachel, our kids have been consuming sugary drinks, soda. I mean, when I grew up, our family, we had Pepsi, a bottle of it, maybe. There were 5 kids. We had those little Dixie cups. I might have said this before. On a Saturday night, we were watching $1 Million Man. Okay, we split the bottle. Everybody was watching Greg, Big Brother Greg, pour. Making sure everybody had the same amount. In these little 2-ounce Dixie cups. Right. And that's the soda that we had for the week.
Yeah.
Yeah. And unfortunately, kids today, 2, 3 big, sodas and big gulps.
Oh my gosh. The
Yeah.
cups are enormous now. When you go into a 7-Eleven, it used to be like, little gulp, big gulp with 2 sizes. Now there's like giant gulp and like behemoth gulp and like 90 ounces or something like that. I mean,
so much sugar going in. And unfortunately, people younger and younger are getting diabetes. And I mean, that's not the only issue, but it's a big part of the problem.
It's a big part of the problem.
Big part of the problem. So I would challenge people, just, put a little lemon or maybe a slice of orange or some sort of, or even a couple of strawberries, cucumber, whatever, in your water. But eventually, as you step away from the soda, your palate will open itself to the goodness of the water.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It does take time, but it will work. It's a healing process. You just have to stop kind of assaulting your taste buds with these hyper palatable, explosive flavors. And then other things, it becomes pleasurable. And I think you no longer then when I drink water, I'm not searching for a pleasurable experience. I'm not looking for comfort. I'm not looking for a razzpazz. I'm hydrating. I'm just drinking water. I actually happen to really like drinking water, but I don't seek it like somebody might seek a soda or how someone, right? And so it really kind of rewires the brain's reward system there.
Yeah. That's so good. Another thought that I had about this was, the herbal teas can be very flavorful and then be a bridge to drinking water.
Yep.
And then sometimes people use the sparkling water with a little flavoring in them. That can be a bridge to drinking water, but it's not a substitute.
It's not a substitute. Yeah, exactly. And practice with some of those things. Tea can be made hot or make it into an iced tea, depending on what you like or the time of year, and add some lemon wedges or something. And I do think that is a good bridge. Those are good tools.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Last point. What did you have to say there?
Well, it's called Tame Ties and Tight Pants.
Okay. What does that mean?
Yeah, what it was basically the challenge is identify one item that you regularly wear that creates discomfort and find a comfortable alternative.
Right.
What's he talking? Why is he suggesting that?
Yeah, well, I think if we wear clothing that is too tight, I think it sometimes it can cause discomfort, and it can. Well, I used to see people with neuralgia paresthetica, and their belt was too tight, and that compressed some superficial nerves that were in their around their pelvis going into their thighs. And so and they had so they were causing a little bit of damage when when their pants or their belt was too tight. So I think it also can cause some probably dysfunction in the colon.
Yeah.
Right. If we need room, we need room for to do everything that the gut needs to do to break down, digest, and process the food that we're eating. So give it room.
Space to breathe. We need space to pull our diaphragm down.
Thank you.
We need to breathe with our gut.
Thank you. But good point. Yeah, that's exactly right. We need space. And if we're like wearing all these tight, can you imagine wearing a corset?
No, I would not have done well in those days.
Yeah.
I've been very rebellious. I would not have survived.
I know. That was torture.
Torture. I can't believe I don't know how women stood straight up.
Or some other cultures where they bind the feet.
Yeah. Yeah, right. We can be grateful that we live in a day and age where you can wear whatever you want.
Right.
You can wear, but you can also be stylish if that's important for you. You can be stylish, but just with more room. Find a style that works for you, or a type of material.
Right. And it can be professional too. It doesn't suggest walking around your PJs all the time, you know.
Right.
So and one real important thing I want to say here is the shoe to fit well. Yeah, because I have a friend, I won't mention her name, I love her, but she's frugal, and I respect that, but she wears her husband's throwaway shoes. They happen to have a similar size. He's a little bit bigger, and I'm like, get your own shoe.
Yes.
Right. And make sure it fits well. Yeah.
Because
I personally,
we're always talking about like longevity, right? Like, I want to be healthy for my longevity. I want to lose weight and feel healthier and reduce disease and all these things. But what we also need to be holding steady is our joints. And shoes have a lifespan. And the average lifespan of a pair of shoes is 400 miles. So if these are exercise shoes that you walk in or run in, or probably walk and run, or do, like dance or whatever, you kind of want to track, like, how many miles has it been? And you got to get rid of them, because if we're doing any kind of walking or running on concrete or a hard surface, there's not a lot of cushion. So your joints are taking it. Your spinal column is taking it. Your neck is taking that. If you don't have fresh shoes that are supportive and cushiony.
Great. And to your point, Rachel, it may not look broken down on the outside, but it's breaking down on the inside.
Yes.
Yeah. The internal parts of that too. So you're like, oh, these look still pretty good. Maybe use them to rake the leaves or something like that. Maybe you don't throw them away. Right. But and that's another reason I just don't give my shoes to Goodwill.
Right, because they've already been worked. They've already been unless they're brand new and they didn't fit you or something. To give them to Goodwill, somebody else is getting shoes that are broken down. Yeah. So I think it's a hard thing to do. It's hard to spend money sometimes on, especially exercise shoes, because they're not like the cute new style with your outfit. They're just your exercise shoes. But man, that made a huge difference in the way my knees respond to the amount of running that I do, and the kind of way I want my body to work. I need to equip it, kind of like what we're talking about with antioxidants, right? And knowing that I need to give my body the proper nutrition to fight that stuff. Right. I need to equip my body in a way that's not going to break down, because I want these joints to last well into my older years as much as possible. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good point. Good point. It's important to invest in those areas. Invest in what you digest.
Yeah.
Right. Invest in a good pair of shoes. Right. Yeah.
And on a regular basis, not just one
basis. That's right. That's right. Yeah. I can tell when it's time, because I don't run a ton, but maybe 2 miles a day. But I can tell, because my back starts tweaking a little bit.
Yes.
When it's time to change the shoe. So,
Right. That's great then. So you've got, you're connected enough with your body now to know, and then it tells you, and it's like, and the body gives us all of those cues all the time. We just got to be tuning in and listening.
Tune in. That's great. All right. Well, Rachel, before we get to what's for dinner, next week is Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Yeah, I think. And so we probably won't meet next week.
No.
We're going to be enjoying family, friends, and in a healthy way, and maybe a few indulgences.
Yeah.
that we're in charge of, we're feeling in control of.
Right.
Yeah. We don't have to pay for it on the couch.
No, it's not worth it to me anymore. I don't even want to anymore. I had a conversation with someone recently. We were talking about the rewards that we used to get. There used to be a connection with overstuffing and with eating all the pie and whatever. And you can track that back if you want to spend some time working through your mindset. But the bottom line is, as you become disenchanted with those old patterns, it's just not worth it anymore, right? It's not worth how I feel. It's not worth how my mindset feels about it, and kind of like I kind of beat myself up. It's not worth the sluggish. I want the energy. I want to keep going. I want to, like, the next day wake up and do my thing. I don't want it to like wipe me out for 3 days. And so, it's like, so now a really mindful balance of just a little bit. And I know how much my body will tolerate. I know what my threshold is. I figured it out over the years. And so I know my threshold of just a little bit of, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then I'm good. And I know what it will take to take me over the edge. And it's just not worth it. So yeah,
that's great.
Yeah. Healthy.
Yeah. Well, and I've put in a little activity, a built-in activity to our Thanksgiving. We're going to do a turkey trot in the morning. And then as a family, people don't know this yet.
Are you waking up really early to get out of bed and do it?
We're going to get up early.
Bang
yes. Turkey trot. And then we're having our pickleball tournament. And Rachel, I'm excited because when I looked at the weather, it looks like there's going to be sun.
Yes.
At least where I am. Yep. So we're gonna have our so I can't be heavy laden.
No, you got to be competitive.
Gotta be competitive on my game. Now I twisted my ankle, so I'm rehabbing that baby. I'm rehabbing it, and I am making sure I'm not eating anything. I'm on point with my eating because that's going to help me heal.
Yes.
And I'm going to bed and getting my sleep because I got to be on the court, ready to go.
Right. That's right. That inflammation in your ankle can be reduced by the healthy nutrition that you eat.
That's right.
Yeah. And what's so funny is we're doing a pickleball tournament also where we're traveling to out of state, and we've been like practicing, and we all know that we're going to be competing as a family, and there's a big group of us. And my son keeps coming home from being out, and he says, "I'm going to take you down." He looks me in the eye. He's like, "Oh, you're going down." And I'm like, "Oh." And he has the advantage anyway, right? He's 21 and just a solid mass of muscle and an athlete and whatever. And I'm like, "Listen, my age gives me wisdom, and I will wisdom you out of that pickle court."
That is a good point. I heard somebody else talk about, older versus, competing against younger. And a lot of times the older wins because they don't take the, the crack shots, and they don't try to be hot dogs on the court. They just play their game.
Right. My strategy.
Yes.
Stick with my strategy.
That's right. So, so I think that's going to work for us. So.
Well, we should take some pictures of our pickleball tournament and
yes,
OWW.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah,
that's a great idea. Okay, I love it. I know it too. I'll even put our banner, our name out there. So.
I love it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Good idea.
All right. Lots of things to think about. Well, and I'm still cleaning out my fridge. Rachel, last week I said my husband was on this crazy long fast.
Yeah.
And he's done great. And so I'm now digging in the freezer.
Nice.
I found some tuna steaks. Like, wow, what? I didn't know, and they're not freezer burnt or anything. So, hey, that's a nice meal right there. Tuna steaks. And I'm onto the freezer vegetables. So I've got cauliflower, but I've got some onions still left and everything. So it looks like it's tuna steak and then cauliflower rice with onion in there. And of course, I'll put all kinds of yummy spices in there. It'll be good.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds so good. That's a meal I would choose.
Yeah.
I'd be not big,
Yeah. No, I'm really pleasantly regaled. And I love opening. I kind of have I don't know, it's a good feeling to open up the fridge and have it kind of be empty.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's interesting because it's kind of like the feeling I get when fasting, kind of like um, going from abundance to less abundance and being okay with it and kind
Mhm,
of that clean. It's like when you clean out your garage or
mhm,
you purge, junk. Yeah, that's
mhm,
interesting.
mhm.
Really interesting.
Yeah,
I like it.
yeah. How about you? What's for dinner?
Oh gosh, dinner. Well, because we're traveling a lot, almost all of next week, we're also eating, kind of trying to eat through some stuff. So the week before this week, last week, I had done a ton of food prep. I had put, I mean, every Tupperware container in my house is in the freezer because and so we're eating through the freezer. We're eating through soups and stews and mostly soups and stews because those are things that freeze up really well, but also like some pre-prepped grains, like those purple barley grain from
Mm,
farmer's market. I cooked up a
mhm,
bunch. I made a huge batch, froze half of it, so now I can re-pull some of that out,
yeah.
and some sauces that we make in bulk and then we freeze them. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Well, that sounds great.
it's
Yeah.
working through the freezer also. So it's a kind of a surprise. I'm thawing something right now. I don't know what it is. It's surprise dinner tonight, and it's going to be fine.
That's right. It's awesome.
Yeah,
It was good before, it'll be good again.
it was great before. Yeah, it's going
Yeah.
to be amazing.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Well, thanks, and everyone enjoy a healthy
Yeah.
holiday, and we'll catch you in 2 weeks then.
Oops.
Okay. But
Good.
look for some pictures on Facebook or Instagram about our pickleball tournament.
Yes, I
All right.
love it. I love
All
it.
right.
Okay.
Thanks, Rachel.
Thanks, everybody. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.